Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at an elegant blade. The elegant blade is the elite form of the saber, which is saber, shamshir, and elegant blade. The elite form, of course, is the highest version, and the elegant blade and the sabers and stuff like that tend to be very fast weapons, -10. So when you put these on, they generally tend to be very fast already before any other modifiers are applied. Now the Bloodmoon Elegant Blade is the unique version of the Elegant Blade, and the damage on it isn't too bad, but the level requirement is a little high. We're looking at 118 to 162 damage with a level requirement of 61 and dexterity of 122 with a strength requirement of 109. I feel like the requirements on this are a bit high for level 61, especially considering it's not only a high dex requirement, but also a relatively high strength requirement, which kind of relegates this to characters who are going to build both dex and strength, like barbarians, paladins, and maybe druids. Now, the problem with it as a druid is it doesn't have any increased attack speed on it, so... we also have some interesting effects here. So right off the bat, we've got an ED of 210 to 260%. So only a 50% variance on the enhanced damage. We have a rather large amount of lifesteal, which does vary by 5%. So it's 10 to 15% lifesteal, which is going to be good because by the time you're using this, you should be in hell difficulty. And hell difficulty does have a large number of penalties for lifesteal. So do keep that in mind. We also have a 50% chance of open wounds, which is a relatively high chance of open wounds, which means this is going to proc pretty much all the time. So do keep that in mind. We also have plus 13 to life after every kill, which is going to be a pretty nice boon if you are in a situation where you are making multiple kills per second. We also have a very interesting appearance on this. I wanted to show off the appearance. It is kind of a very pretty item. Just a very pretty item in general. And then we come to the real nitty-gritty of this, is we have level 15 Blood Golem charges. And I forgot to say that the life after each kill does vary 7 to 13. I don't know why they did that. I thought that was kind of silly. 13 to life after each kill is a nice number. It's not the greatest in the world, but it's nice to see that 13 number, and I don't know why they decided to do a variance on that at all. It wasn't necessary. So the level 15 Blood Golem is actually kind of interesting. Now you do have to keep in mind that this Blood Golem is not going to have any synergies if used on a non-necromancer, and this is kind of important because the synergies on the necromancer are pretty nice. But at level 15, the Blood Golem will be doing 37 to 100 damage, and he will be leeching 135% of that life. And what happens with the Blood Golem is he actually sort of steals life for you. So when he attacks, the Blood Golem will basically steal that life and will sort of give it to you, and it is a way to keep you alive. And basically how it works is the Golem gains 70% of the health it steals, while the player gains 30. If the current life plus the stolen life is greater than the maximum life of the Blood Golem, the hit point overflow goes to the Necromancer. If the current life is stolen greater than the maximum life of the Necromancer, the hit point overflow returns to the Golem up to the maximum life for each target. So it's like it's just like a way that you can stay alive easier. So if we were to go ahead and summon this Blood Golem, we've got 2 Blood Golem charges, of course, because we've got 2 weapons. Hopefully I use the non-ethereal version. No, I use the ethereal version. Yay, I used the wrong one. Exactly what I wanted. And he's already dead. You know what? Let's go somewhere where he's not going to get immediately mauled out of existence, so I can actually shout him. Because that would be a good idea. Is if you're going to have a Blood Golem, you're gonna shout him. You're gonna beef him up a little bit. So let's get him some shouts, beef him up, and then we'll run around and we'll see what we can do. So. So what I really want you to see is that the Blood Golem does in fact cause me to steal life. So whenever the Blood Golem hits, you notice there's a lifesteal proc above my head. So the whole shtick with this particular weapon is very, very simple. It's life, 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 life. Like, there's literally nothing more about this weapon that you should know other than it does tons and tons and tons of life steal, life restoration, life, life, life. And the open wounds on there is specifically put on there to kind of like simulate the whole, hey, this is tons and tons of life that you're getting here. Be impressed. Be impressed at all this life that you're getting, because you look where it's coming from. It's coming from the creatures that you're killing. We're bleeding them dry. We're bleeding them dry. Look at all the blood everywhere, all the guts and the gory. Yes, all the blood. Blood is bleed for me. Bleed for me, little fallens, bleed. Now, the 50% open wounds is actually really high, and I feel like you could use that in quite a few scenarios to maintain monsters' HP regeneration from taking into effect. Open wounds is something that is very often used in Ubers. Losing my train of thought. And, if you already had all the crushing blow that you needed and everything, maybe this could be a nice little swap too. It's got lots of life. It would certainly keep you alive. With the 15% life steal, the life after each kill, and even the Blood Golem, if you wanted to try and risk summoning him. The Blood Golem would also restore your health. So, it would be an interesting way to get extra on here. Although, I can't help but wonder, with all the blood and the life restoration effects that they have on this weapon, why didn't they put Life Tap on here? I feel like Life Tap would have made a good addition. They have a theme going. The theme is, everything is okay. We got tons and tons of life steal and life, everything. Why can't we throw some Life Tap on there? But they decided not to, so who knows. I wanted to test something real quick. So as long as you have one of them on, the Blood Golem stays. But if you take one of them off, if you take both of them off, the Blood Golem dies. So etc. So if I just swapped weapons, he would just immediately die. That's not good. I feel like they definitely should have made these items a little more usable in situations where you could summon the Blood Golem and then move on, because you have these unique effects on them, and it would make them more sought after. We also have the ethereal version. I don't remember if I talked about the ethereal version or not, but this one is 176 to 241 damage. We've got 112, 199 on the dex and strength, and the same level 61 requirement. And of course, because this is elite, we cannot upgrade this, although we can put a socket in it, and you could do something specific with it. Do keep in mind that you cannot recharge the Blood Golem charges on the ethereal version. You cannot do it either by repairing it or by putting it in the cube. So if you were to go over here and try to repair this, it says cannot be repaired. After using 2 charges, looks like we're looking at 35,000 gold. It's not too bad when you consider the fact that if the Blood Golem is staying alive, he's actually being useful. He's probably not going to die that quickly. You got to beef him up a little bit. I don't know. I feel like without the synergies, though, he's not going to do well in Hell difficulty, and I don't know why they didn't make this a lower level blade. I feel like this would have been a lot cooler as like a normal difficulty thing, giving Blood Golems to people, because the Blood Golem actually would have been useful in normal difficulty. But in Hell difficulty, by this time, there's all the resistance penalties and all this other stuff coming into effect, and you've got the damage of the Blood Golem being absolutely pathetic, and the HP is absolutely terrible. He does not getting any of the synergies. He's not getting the summon resist. He's not getting the golem mastery. He's not getting the other effects from the other golems, and it just doesn't really work out so well. All in all, who could use this weapon? It seems like a fairly decent weapon for a Zeal Paladin, a Frenzy Barbarian, a Fury Druid, maybe even just for the massive amount of lifesteal and the open wounds. It's not going to be the greatest damage in the world. I feel like the elegant blades or the sabers always were on the low side. They were supposed to be really fast weapons that were also you know, dishing out relatively low damage because their speed was making up for the fact that they were relatively fast, you know, relatively low damage. And I mean, the damage on this isn't awful for 61. Don't get me wrong. And if you didn't have anything better to put on at level 61, this would certainly be a good choice. I can't really see using the Blood Golem and in hell difficulty. I feel like he's just gonna die all the time. And they only gave 9 charges. I don't know what they were thinking. The golems just maybe with the 2.4 patch changes, because they did talk about beefing up the Blood Golem. Maybe with the 2.4 patch changes, Bloodmoon will see some different uses. It's actually an interesting time to talk about that kind of stuff because if they buff up the Blood Golem, they will in effect buff up the Bloodmoon Elegant Blade. So we will have to keep that in mind. I could almost see, it's kind of silly, but I could see using this to create an Iron Golem out of. I mean, it has a massive amount of lifesteal, it's got open wounds, and it's a pretty fast weapon. If you found one of these and you wanted to create an Iron Golem out of it, that would be an interesting choice. There are a lot of items in the game that you can make Iron Golems out of, and the Iron Golems will actually be fairly sweet. I really like the graphic on these, though. It's kind of fun running around with the Blood Moon and looking all beast with 2 sabers, like I'm some sort of pirate. That's right, One Piece. I'm the king of the pirates! I know I did that terrible. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Unique Items, guys and gals. And as always, thanks for watching, and keep watching.